So I just went and continued assisting the customer with whatever. And later on, I talked to the tech guy, and I said, you know, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling better? And he said, not really. You know, it's still, you know, it's pretty terrible what happened. And he then goes on and he starts telling me about you know, the fact that we were attacked and that it'll never be the same. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, you know, he goes on and he says, well, you know, the last time we were attacked, you know, Pearl Harbor and yada yada and so on and so forth. So while he's explaining this to me, he basically uses one of the lines that I've since heard many, many times. And that is that freedom is not free. And that we always have to be watchful, and there always has to be somebody that guards us. So this didn't quite sink in for a little while, but it took me a couple, I don't even know if it was weeks. I think it was longer than weeks. It was, you know, it's not like I was thinking about it all the time, but over the next several weeks, I did think about it more. And finally, I came to the realization, I fully understood everything he had said. And talking about it with like my father and stuff, and because my father's father was in the army during World War II, and he was there. I don't believe he was there for the original D-Day invasion, but he was there very shortly after. And my father's father, was actually attacked by German machine gun nest and had severe damage done to his legs. I never met my grandfather because he died in his early 40s after he'd come home. But my father explained that it looked like someone took an ice cream scoop and took chunks of his legs out. But anyways, my mother's father was also in the military. He was actually in both. He was in first, I believe he was first in the Navy and then in the Army, or possibly vice versa. But in any event, he was in both. And I started to realize what that guy was talking about and everything. And at this point, I was kind of ashamed of myself because I did not understand originally what was going on. And I didn't understand the ramifications of the attack. And for this, I am eternally ashamed of myself because it took me a little while to fully understand and appreciate all basically the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy on a daily basis. And up until that point in my life, I had never fully appreciated the freedoms that I had. because I'd never been without them. And it was at this point that I understood that the only reason why I have those freedoms is because other people were willing to sacrifice their lives and their livelihoods so that I could have that. And at this point, I was still, like I said, a go nowhere. I was a loser. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? If I'm going to... I did have a goal in life, and I wanted to meet someone, and I wanted to have a wife, and I wanted to have kids. And that was very important to me. And it was very important because my family life growing up was not that good, as I've mentioned in some of my other videos. And it was important to me that I have my own family, that I was able to do the things that my parents did wrong. Not do the things that my parents did wrong. That's completely backwards. I did not want to do the things that my parents had done wrong, and I wanted to have a nice family and kids and what have you. And there was no way that I was going to be able to do this because I was a go nowhere. So I also realized that the world was not perfectly safe. So not only did I need to be financially secure, if I wanted my kids to enjoy the freedoms that I had, then men needed to make... Well, at this point, it was, you know, men and women. Still, women not allowed in the infantry, but that really doesn't matter because they're still involved in combat. But if I was going to provide for them, both financially, I also needed to provide for them to secure their freedoms. My grandfather had done it. Both my grandfathers had done it for my family. My uncle had also served in the army. So I thought, well, here I am. I'm enjoying this, and I have done nothing to secure it. And I felt that for a couple of reasons, I needed to enlist. I needed to enlist first and foremost because I wanted to secure the freedoms for future generations. And secondly, I wanted to make sure that I atoned for my shame and for not understanding. And a third reason, which was more of a personal growth thing, is I needed discipline. I needed better job skills. I had tried to go to college, but I couldn't afford it. Working the number of hours that I did at the crappy jobs that I did, I simply couldn't afford to go to college. So, anyways. So, I decided to enlist. Alright, so short break there. We had to reboot the server because of the lag. Everything should be all set now, though. Where was I? So I think I had said I decided to finally join the army. And what I did was I called up a recruiter and I said, hey, you know, I've made my decision. I want to join the army. And I can still remember I can still remember his name. I'm not going to say his name, but I remember his name perfectly. In fact, I have his business card laminated still. So even if I forgot, I have the business card. And he's like, all right, well, you know, we have this benefit and that benefit. And I said, no, you don't understand. You don't have to convince me of anything. Like, I've already made up my mind. This is what I want to do. So all you have to do is swing on by and bring the paperwork, and we're good to go. And he's like, all right, well, we still have to do, you know, different things and what have you. There's an ASVAB test that you have to take. I forget exactly what it stands for, but it is a basic intelligence test where it determines your strengths with different things like engineering or memorization and things of that nature. And you also have a score called a GT eventually. Well, the test he brought me was not the actual test. It's a pre-test. It's just to give you a general idea of where you're going to be. And then when you go to the MEP station, which is military entrance placement something, it's something like that. And then you take the real ASVAB. So, what the hell? I can't even see. Oh, there he is. So, he comes by, and I take the test, and I scored really well on it. So he's all happy because, you know, they want to meet their quotas and stuff like that, and having good recruits that are likely to go through are a bonus to them. Well, it's not like they get paid a bonus or nothing, but it looks good on their NCOERs and evaluations and stuff like that. That's what an NCOER is. A non-commissioned officer evaluation report, I think. So, you know, it looks good for him. He goes and we make the arrangements. Oh, hey, dungeon spawner. Make the arrangements, and he picks me up and brings me to the map station. And I get there, and at the time, I hadn't... I'm gonna write this down real fast. Give me a second. Well, actually, I got the recording, so... at the time, I had already been in an accident. Well, I had been in several car accidents, but that's not the one I'm talking about. It was a sledding accident, of all things. And I had broken my leg. And I'm the kind of person who is honest until it hurts, pretty much. And there was a report that you have to fill out, like, have you ever done any drugs? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever done this? You know, blah, blah, blah. So two of the things that were on it were, have you ever had any broken bones? Yes, I broke my leg. And the other thing was, had you ever been to counseling or seen by a psychiatrist or something like that? And I said yes. Now, I didn't have to go to a counselor because I was messed up or I was, you know, in trouble or anything like that. I had to go to a family counselor because of the alcoholism in my family. So it wasn't because I had done anything wrong. It was to try to fix my family. And this was prior to me leaving home, by the way. So we had tried that, and it just, quite frankly, it didn't work. And it didn't work because my family wasn't willing to give up alcohol at this point yet. So, anyways, so I put that on there, and I remember getting to the map station, and the guy is like, he's like, what kind of, you know, he's looking through the papers, and I'm within earshot. I'm on the other side of the door, basically. And he's like, what kind of lousy recruits are you bringing? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, this one's got, he's had a broken leg. He went to a psychologist or whatever, counseling, blah, blah, blah. He's like, geez, what kind of lousy candidates are you bringing me? And I was kind of ticked off when he said that. I'm like, that is bogus. I'm like, you are a jackass guy. So after this, he comes out and he, you know, says hi and blah 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 and acts like he doesn't know that it was me, and he didn't know that I had heard him, but I definitely knew, and I remembered, that's for sure. So I go and I take the real ASVAB. Okay. Now, the max GT score, which is your general intelligence, or something to that effect. I forget what exactly it stands for. But essentially what it is like I think I explained it a second ago, which was, it's your basic intelligence. And you need to have a certain, like, you need to have 110 at the time, I believe, in order to be an officer. And there are certain jobs where you have to have a certain GT score in order to do it. Now, at the time, I had been working, well, a variety of things. But one of my recent jobs had been security for, like, retail stores and stuff like that. And I had wanted to be an MP. So I told them, like, that's what I wanted to do. And they're like, okay, well, you know, we got to see how you do on the scores and blah, blah, blah. Now, this guy was expecting me to do poorly. He had a very low opinion of me already. And this isn't representative of the Army in general. It's just this particular guy was a jackass. So I go and I take the ASVAB, and the max GT at the time was something like 129 or something like that, and I got a 126. So I scored pretty damn high. After that happened, this guy was like jumping over himself, tripping over himself, doing anything. He's like, is there anything I can get you? You know, they wanted me in the Army. No ifs, ands, or buts. They did not care about any of the other issues at this point. They were like, you're smart enough to have any job in the entire Army. What would you like to do? And I said, well, I'm not, you know, I'd like to be an MP. And he's like, well, you know, you have some debt. I had to repair my car previously because of an accident. And I was in debt. I had a loan out, and the loan was nothing major. It was like, somewhere in the range of $3,000, $4,000, somewhere like that. On hindsight, it was stupid. I could have just bought a friggin' new car. I mean, I really liked that. It was a Pontiac Grand Am, and my grandmother had given it to me because she could no longer drive. But anyways, that's not this story. So, you know, they were like tripping over themselves to get me whatever I wanted, and so I was looking through that the book of stuff. Oh yeah, no. First, I said I wanted to be an MP, and then he says, "Oh, you're not really going to be eligible for that because it requires a security clearance, and because you have debt, you're not going to be able to get it," which is complete. It's complete bullshit. So, anyways, I'm like, all right, well, you know, that's kind of what I wanted to do. But, you know, if I can't do it, I'm still determined to join the army because that's what I want to do. And he's like, all right, well, here's a book. So I looked through this big book of jobs, and they're called MOSs. At the time, I had no friggin' clue what that meant. I still, to be honest, I can't remember what MOS stands for. Mission oriented something, maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. So I'm like, all right, I'll look through your book of whatever the hell and find a job. But when you look through the book, it's got all sorts of weird nomenclature. I think that might be the correct term. Oh, I wanted to get the diamonds over here before I forget. So like, hey guy. It's not called a mechanic. It's called, you know, something with a hell of a lot longer of a title. To give you an idea, well, let me tell you this. So I looked through the book and I'm like, all right, I have no friggin' clue what any of this stuff is. You know, they're talking about operator, analyst, technician, blah-blah-blah, whatever the hell. I'm like, I don't understand what the hell this means. And I don't want to pick something going into it thinking it's cool and then realizing it sucks. And I almost was in that position because I almost ended up with I think it was like a 30 something. Oh, hey, another one. Oh, but that's spiders. Let's wall this up for right now. I don't really like that. Oh, gotcha. Every time I get hit, it sounds like I'm taking a picture. It's like, oh, look, flash photography. Oh, no, wait, that's a bullet to the face. Ow. Oh, no. Oh, he died. No. Oh, crap. Crap. Oh, my whole ship. I'm gonna die. My whole ship is gonna die. Oh, no. Oh, crap. Might actually be not that difficult. Oh, crap.